Excel module number 4, EX4-3, creating our first chart, which is going to be the pie chart. Now the pie chart, and it's truly is a piece of the pie, so it's trying to take your data and divide it into slices. So each slice represents the amount of that dollar amount or that quantity. And the quantity is in the data category. Pie charts are lovely, but if you get a little crazy and you have like 100 numbers you want to chart, that does not work very well for a pie chart, because think how small that pie slice would be. So you want to keep it kind of contained. Another thing that we want to keep in mind is when we have totals, you don't want to put a grand total because it's going to chart that as like a percentage of the other data points. So always leave your summaries not included. All right, definitions here. We have a data series. So the data series is your values, is the numbers that you're plotting. And then you also have your category values, which are, they call them descriptive, but think of those as the words. So the data series and then the words on that. So let's go over to the mix. All right, I'm going to flip over to my worksheet and I'm on asset mix. So we would like to chart this. So these guys would be the data series, not the total. This one in column A then would be the descriptive categories, as they call them, or category values. All right, so what I do, which again, Bob's getting more advanced and you don't really need to, but I like to, sometimes Bob just forgets where he's going to go. So if you can be one step ahead, that's the best. All right, let me show you what I mean. I'm just going to click nowhere else and I'm going to go up to insert and then right there, pie chart. And then Bob's like, wait a minute, I think this is what you want. See how it's highlighted? But yet there's that total and it looks kind of wonky. Well, that's because when I hit my Control Z, that's because I wasn't one step ahead of Bob. I'm going to tell Bob I want to put the title of assets and funds. So I give my descriptive and I give my data values a name by highlighting that. I'm going to go down to B9 and not include the grand total. Okay, once I have that highlighted, now there's two different ways I can do this. Mac people, go up to insert and then click on your pie chart. Okay, my Windows people, we can go to the quick analysis toolbar or hit my Control Q, either one. Go to charts and then pie. Now let me do this again, Control Z, insert pie chart, the very first one. It's the exact same thing. Remember that quick analysis toolbar is just a shortcut. That's all it is. Okay, so the data points are all of these. Look at the orange. The orange is the US, orange, that one, the 84,000 is this guy, right? So it's the biggest piece of the pie. Since these are data points, it grabbed this name to be the chart title. So it also grabbed numbers here, but the numbers are represented by words, and the words are right across from it with those labels because we highlighted them. So if you, a lot of times, people forget to do that. They just highlight this and then they go up to insert and then pie chart. I'm going to see what I mean? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It didn't quite know what to do on that one. So, because it doesn't, you have to be one step ahead. Okay, let's scooch on here and let's move on to moving and resizing a chart. So a chart can be its own different, well, let me click on my chart, because look up here in my title bar or my menu. Okay, I'm going to click on my chart, and when I do that, I get a new menu that pops up. I have chart design and then I have format. Okay, chart design has all these different elements. Now the kicker of charts, let me close this screen because that's always so confusing. Now I want you to watch my edit box. That's the box with those circles. So I click and 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 I, wherever your edit box, you can do a right click, and we're going to get more on this in the next video, but the right click will narrow down depending on what you can do. So I like my lovely right click because it constantly changes depending on what I put the edit box around first. Everything that I've clicked on is an object, meaning a chart element. So this is why we have this drop down for chart element. That chart element also means, and you kind of see how it has a plus sign right there, that plus sign. That's also chart elements. Now, fun little quick formats. I hit the more button, and as I point, we have live preview, so I can format very quickly in here. We can change my color palette really quick too, change the layout, switch around the column and row. That would make more sense if we were a line or a column. Select the data, meaning I didn't go far enough. Let's say if I had more numbers down below, change the chart type, move the chart. And then if I click on format, then we have more stuff to play. You can make a chart in less than 2 seconds, but you can format it for a couple hours. Everybody feeling that? I know. And there's more buttons here too, and we'll play with that. And we have this whole, you know what, let me get to that one real quick. This guy will pop up too, and it's so bloody confusing. It really is. And so we have to get a good handle of that in just a little bit. All right, the next part of this is 4-3C, where how do I move a chart? Okay, I'm going to click off of it. When I click off of it, that menu disappears. I cannot move this. Okay, if I'm not clicked on it, click on it. Make sure I have my edit box all the way around. Click and hold on. Now I can drag it wherever I want. I can resize it very easily, but you got to be careful of what you clicked on. So, oh, what did I do? See, if you have your mouse in the wrong spot and you click and you move things, other things will move. So you must get the edit box around the whole thing. Now under chart design, we do have a button called move chart. So you can put your chart, just the chart, in its own unique worksheet tab, and we call it a chart sheet. We can make it an object, and that's what we call it when we get all those lines around it. And then you can hit the drop down. It lists all the tabs, all your worksheets. We're going to move it to summary and hit OK. Now we like to move this over to G7, so I can do this, but see how it's kind of hard to lock it in if I want it in that corner. I'm kind of guessing. What we want to do, and this is in your ebook too, is that you want to hold down, and let me swing the ebook over so you can see it, is you hold down the Alt key. So the Alt key kind of helps the chart. I'm going to hold down my Alt key right now, and it will lock it. See how it just poof, goes right to that corner, right to this corner, and it's not as stumbly. What I could say, it's going to lock it to the corner of whatever you want instead of trying to. Okay, I have nothing held down right now, and now let's say I'm going to try to get it to H, and I think I'm on H, and I'm not sure. Now I hold down my Alt key, which I'm doing right now, and then it just locks it right in there. Okay, that's a nice little key on that one. Okay, let me move this one over. I'm going to hold down my Alt key and bring it back over to G7 very quickly. I'm going to make this a chart a little bit bigger by dragging it on down. And then what we have is pie charts are fun. And if I go back up here, you know, I could play and do some fancy formatting. It's really nice to have those percentages, I think, but that's my accounting background on that. What we could do, and if we want to focus the end user's eyes on something, we can explode something. So any kind of wedge in your pie, you can move it away and explode it from the rest of them. And why would you do that? To emphasize it. Emphasize that piece of pie, that fact. So let's say that this 14 is something we're talking about. Click and hold on. Click. I keep clicking to make sure my edit box is just around that one. Click, hold on, and I drag it. And now I can scooch it out as far as I want to. It kind of looks like a Pac-Man, you know, and then I could, you know, tell my readers more on that one, why I'm trying to make sure they're seeing 14.